Okay, I think we are there. Just give people a moment to jump on, and before we make a proper start, but hello to any people who are here already. Just give it a moment. There's everything. There we go. Okay. There's everything. There we go. Okay. Right. I can see everything, got everything on my page. See if we get some people jumping on. So good evening from where I am in the UK. Maybe it's morning where you are. Maybe you're watching this at a future date. Either way, hello and welcome to an interview with WiseOceans. My name is Charlotte. Many of you have seen me before. And if you haven't seen one of our interview with WiseOceans, this is part of our series we have. We have lots of written interviews on our website with over, I forget where we're getting up to now. I think we're past 180 or something interviews with people from across the marine conservation and marine biology world. But we also have special live interviews here. They are designed pretty much for anybody, but we know that people who are perhaps currently studying marine biology or early career marine biologists, or perhaps people who took a different route and looking to want to be part of marine conservation, make a difference. I know that because that was me. So this series is here to help inspire you, to help get you up that ladder and get you on the next step. And because we need all the ocean ambassadors and marine biologists and everything else we can. So today we are thrilled to welcome Laura Vanopdenbosch. Have I got that right?
Yeah, perfect.
Laura is director of now let me get this right. Director of expeditions, director of, is that right? I've already forgotten.
I'm project director of
Innoceana. I knew there was a project in there. I'm sorry. Project director. Oh, this got off to a good start, hasn't it? Project director for Innoceana, based in wonderful Costa Rica. So welcome, Laura. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Charlotte. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, we're all happy. Now, I could do an introduction, but I think it would be so much better if you did, because then you can tell everybody about yourself. So yeah, what do you do? What's your current position? And maybe talk about the kind of maybe the route that you got to get there, because I know a lot of people would be interested because you have perhaps their dream job.
Of course, I believe I have a dream job, that's for sure. So maybe I can introduce a little bit Innoceana first to understand a little bit.
Perfect, yeah, that would be great.
I'm doing in here. So Innoceana is a marine conservation NGO, and so we are actually based in Costa Rica, but we're also based in Spain and in California. In California, we have no projects or anything. It's more like we are like a 501c3 association, more for funding, like for grants and all of that. Right. And in Spain, we have a lot of projects in Canary Islands. So if you visit Tenerife, you should come and visit us because we do also a lot of amazing projects in there. So basically what we do is research, conservation and education. We are engineers and biologists trying to work together to save the ocean, which is the most important. So I am actually a molecular biologist. So I was working in neurosciences, trying to understand the brain, trying to understand disease like Alzheimer and Parkinson's and stuff like that, which was really, really, really interesting. And I was gonna start my PhD when I thought, okay, I need to travel a little bit, like know the world before I start my PhD, and started traveling, and I discovered the ocean because in Belgium, where I'm from, there's not much ocean. So I had no clue really. And I started diving and did all the way to my dive master and fell in love and thought, okay, I need to work in there. Exactly. So I kind of switched towards marine biology without going back to school, just with experience, just trying to volunteer in different organizations. And then 4 years ago, I found Innoceana. That was really at the really beginning of it. So it was just Carlos, the founder, and me, and we started pushing and starting projects, and yeah, it just grew very fast.
Fantastic. I think that route from, you know, I mean, obviously you were involved in biology, but that route in, people get very worried. And I know sometimes even students who perhaps haven't gone to university yet and they're choosing, and they get very concerned about whether to do biology or zoology or oceanography or marine biology or all the different versions of it. And I think sometimes it doesn't always matter too much, especially at undergraduate level. You know, I think not to get too stressed about it. I mean, you might have a clear goal about where you want to go, but also sometimes it's, you know, you can move sideways.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. It's something, actually, I have a volunteer that is a really nice guy, for 14 years old he is, and he's been volunteering a lot with us. He's like in love with what we do. He did an expedition with us and all of that. And he was asking me like, what should I study to be like you? And it's so amazing, but it's the question of so many people. And I always say, I know it's so much pressure on the shoulders of like, what should I choose? Like, this is my whole career definition, no?
Yes.
But it's like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I had a biology background, but really I had no clue about anything under the ocean, like no clue. I didn't study that at all. So really, the most important is practice, volunteering, going out there in the field, like seeing how it is and getting experience. And that's where you get opportunities and doors that open. No?
Yeah, and expeditions, you know, we've always had a strong association with lots of expeditions. I'm really happy now for Innoceana to be featured on our beautiful new website, by the way, people, if you haven't been there. It's very new and shiny, and features Innoceana on our new expedition page, which looks beautiful. So yeah, we've had a long association. I myself did an expedition, and that expedition caused me to go from a career totally unrelated to marine biology into one where I'm not a marine biologist, but I work in marine conservation. I'm a marine educator. So, you know, and I firmly believe that expeditions have a really strong role, both for an opportunity to get practical experience for people who are coming out, or, you know, during their studies in marine related studies, but also for anybody who's looking to move sideways. It's a taster, you know, that opportunity to get practical experience, to network as well.
Yeah, for sure. I have so many incredible stories with the expeditions. We've been doing expeditions for 4 years now, and a lot in Costa Rica, also in Tenerife, we do a lot of expeditions as well. And I've just had incredible experience with people, and like seeing the impact that has on them, and like how life-changing it can be, because they just discovering things that they had never heard before. They're discovering how to dive in a really different way, how to like see the marine life in a different way, and how it is actually possible to work in something that you're passionate about. Like,
yeah,
passionate
absolutely.
about. It is possible to work to actually make this world a better place, no? And you don't just have to be in an office making money to be able to live. You can do something that will be positive for the world, and that you will be passionate every morning about getting up and working in something that you love. So yeah, expeditions is a great way. We do expeditions here of like a week, and so it's a training in marine conservation, but it's actually not just for marine biologists or people that are in their early careers. You were saying,
yeah, anybody.
Exactly.
I was in my 40s when I did mine.
Yeah. It's anyone that really wants to learn, get involved, and yeah, just have experience and just discover something new, maybe that they have never done before. Or so it's a training that they get a certification at the end in marine conservation, and they're going to learn a lot of skills, and they're going to learn how to dive as a conservationist, not as a recreational diver.
Yes, it's a very different thing. I mean, similar but different for sure.
Different,
I've just seen a question, funnily enough. I've put my glasses on. This is from Sean, who says, my wife and I are both small animal vets in the UK, but are hopefully moving to Oaxaca, Ojochal. I do apologize for my pronunciation there, Costa Rica, the following year. So we really hope to be able to join you, as we will be so close.
That's
We're making connections already.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, we just opened. This is our big news this year. It's been a very busy year, 2021, because we opened our first marine conservation and education center here in Costa Rica, in Ojotxal. So this Sean is already aware of it, which is amazing. And so we opened our doors at the end of January. It was our dream for the past 4 years. Now we have like a huge center with a boat.
I need to come. I need to visit.
No, it's really, we're so,
more comments, this time from Christoph. He says, I participated in 2 diving and marine conservation expeditions organized by Innoceana, and it changed my life and is giving a new purpose to defend and preserve the ocean with NGOs.
That's amazing. Thank you, Christoph. That's incredible. Yeah, actually, we have a lot of people that came to participate and are now working with us and collaborating with us and getting involved. Some people are full-time team as well, getting paid to work in marine conservation. So it's like a lot of ways to get involved and get out there in the field.
Perfect. Well, this is all. Sean says we can't wait, so that's great. I'm feeling like I need to organize a trip now. Okay. Back to kind of like you talked about having your dream job. I wonder if you could tell our audience maybe you don't have a typical day, but what are the kinds of things that you get to do in your role?
I believe that's why I love my job, is because there's not one day the same as the other. And I hate routine, like I need it to be changing all the time. So that's why I love my job so much. So I guess there will be more 2 types of days. So there's the days where we're in the water, like in the field, and there's the days like the dry days, how we call them, no? And where we're doing conferences or doing meetings or whatever. So I would say that those dry days can be also doing a beach cleanup. We do a lot of meetings with the community, trying to raise awareness. We do a lot of education. So like 3 to 4 times a week, we'll have workshops with kids, either in the school or all the kids come to the conservation center. So workshop meetings and meetings with like investors and philanthropists as well, to try and keep the research project going. That's more or less our dry days. And then we have the wet days, I guess. So the field days, which are of course our favorites to all of us, where we will just spend the whole day in the water. And depending on what we're doing, if we're in the middle of an expedition, we'll have probably like around 5 hours in the field, doing 2 dives a day, taking a lot of data, seeing whales and dolphins on the way, and always taking data. It's very important to always have and yeah, I guess that will be, it's just no typical day. It's very hard.
No, I know. Well, and I think that's what's potentially attractive, isn't it, to something. Not only if you work in marine conservation, or you can do a job that you feel has an impact, but quite often they are quite mixed roles, mixing in in the field, and our friend the spreadsheet and statistics and all of those things that come in.
It's very important to remember that even in marine conservation, it doesn't mean you're in the water all the time.
No, some people never get in the water.
Exactly. Dry time is essential. It's really, really important. Like most of the work has to be done on the computer, in awareness, in data analysis, in all of those things that are super important. And sometimes I have young volunteers that come and are like, I want to be in the water all the time. It's like, yeah, me too. But it's not how we're going to have an impact, actually.
No, and as you've mentioned a couple of times, funding and investment and money to, that it's always a constant thing that you have to be always looking forward, isn't it, to funding what we want to do, because it's not always cheap to do all this wonderful stuff. So, but yeah, fantastic. Looking back to perhaps when you were younger, perhaps when you were, doing molecular biology or whatever, are there skills that you have now, or you use regularly that you never thought that you might need when you were younger? Things perhaps you could have worked on, or perhaps you just come across them when you need them. I don't know.
That's a really good question. There's so many. I've always been only interested in science.
Right.
I'm a scientist. So I was just interested in biology and physics and chemistry, and that's it. Like everything in relation to like accountability, business, marketing. I was like, well, no, this is not for me. I won't. So I never paid attention, and like design and all of this is not my thing. And I use it every day now, and I had to learn a lot about accountability, marketing. Marketing is extremely important, like social media and how to
Yeah.
share what we do, because this is how we can get an impact, is to be able to share it in a nice way, no?
Yeah, even if you don't like it, you learn to like it, because that's the way the world operates, isn't it? And I can't think of, especially in marine conservation, it's really hard. I don't think of, hardly anyone who's not involved in some way in social media, marketing, taking photographs, flying the drone, whatever it might be, alongside being head scientist or expedition director or whatever, your project director, got it right.
Exactly. So it's my advice is to really pay attention to everything, because there are, like, if you're in a huge NGO, I believe that there's more like, it's like, okay, you're in charge of social media, you're only in charge of social media, or you're in charge of this and you're only in charge of this. But in most of the NGOs, in my experience around the world, you need to be multidisciplinary. So you need to be able to do a lot of things, so that you can make the NGO grow, and so that you can be more efficient and make more conservation. No? So
yeah, absolutely. Now, I mean, in the way that you described your kind of journey from being a molecular biologist and then discovering the oceans and everything, it all seemed very smooth and effortless. Was it really like that? And what kind of advice could you give people who are perhaps feeling a little concerned about, it's a tough market out there? Obviously things are opening up post lockdown and so on, but what kind of advice would you give people who are looking to follow in your footsteps in some way?
Don't give up.
Yes.
That's my biggest advice. Don't give up. That's super important. Marine conservation is incredible. It's beautiful. There's so much to do, and it's the dream job, as I was already saying. But for sure, it's not so easy. It's not like I do an interview and tomorrow I'm paid and I have a dream job. Like, it takes a while, and it's a lot of volunteering. It's a lot of working for free. I worked for free for 2 years, before being able to create. Actually, I created my own salary with me finding the funds and all of this, as we were really small NGO. We were really starting, but it's about, I'm not saying that everyone has to do 2 years of volunteering, but it's about being okay to volunteer, to get experience, and to
you were a dive instructor as well alongside all of that,
and to find other revenues on the side. I created my own business of vegan cakes, like nothing to do, but it made me go.
There's always a way, isn't there?
Yeah, there's always a way. There's always a way to survive with the minimum. But yeah, my advice is get as much experience as you can. Go out there. There's thousands and millions of NGOs, amazing NGOs around the world that do beautiful work. So gotta get out there, take experience. Don't give up. You're not gonna get paid right away, or you're very lucky and that's amazing for you. But don't give up, and dream jobs are there, and we all can work in something that we love.
Yeah. And I think, that ability to research going on expeditions and networking and asking people, where did you get your experience? And ask, you know, or if at uni, talk to the PhD students, talk to the master's students, what are they, you know, where did they go, what was good, who was good? And you know, it's part of your job in a way, isn't it, to be curious and to scratch the surface and find those up, because you don't know there, you know, well, there's WiseOceans, obviously. WiseOceans.com is a portal where you can go to, but there's you know, I like to think it's everything, but there are other places outside of WiseOceans.com. But you know, you be curious and just ask questions and be very politely pester people in a nice, you know, nice supportive way.
Very important. I emailed Carlos, the founder, 4 times before I got an answer to get my volunteer.
Oh, really?
But you have to insist. Yeah. If you think that's where you want to go, you have to go for it and insist.
It's funny you said about making your own job. I can think of I think 3 of my friends who did the same thing, that they basically funded their, you know, they got somewhere and then they was like, well, I need to stay here, how can I stay here? And they found funding in different ways, and you know, people, if you can bring funding with you, most people, you know, people aren't going to turn you away, are they?
They are not. You need that.
But yeah, so any chance you get about learning about that stuff, if you're still at university, you know, options and talks and courses on how you can apply, how, you know, how best to fill application forms in and things like that, and, you know, ask around. Definitely good advice. Okay, we're coming towards the end of our little chat here, and this is where you get to make everybody jealous. Apart from the fact that they could sign up for an expedition for Innoceana and get these experiences. But first of all, what's your favorite marine creature and why?
My favorite marine creature, I believe, is nudibranch. Is a nudibranch. I love them. I'm a little obsessed with them.
I don't.
Yeah, they are so beautiful.
Do you have a favorite nudibranch? Because there will be nudibranch nerds watching. That might...
Amazing. Well, my nickname is La Flavelina. In Flavelina, yeah. Here we have Flavelina marquesarum, but we have also a lot of different Flavelinas. But when I arrived for the first time here in Costa Rica, the rangers of the island, that is the biological reserve where we work, beautiful paradise underwater. But there is a ranger on the island that takes care of the place, and he's a specialist in invertebrates and loves nudibranch as well. And he directly called me La Flavelina because of my hair, or I don't know. So and I became also obsessed with nudibranch, and actually I created a project of inventory of invertebrates. So I wrote 2 books here in Costa Rica with all the species that we can find here. Wonderful. And I actually discovered so many species that people had no clue were here. I reported 7 new species that have never been reported in Costa Rica, which was amazing. So yeah, nudibranches for sure. Actually, I have one here painted.
Oh, look! Lovely.
Yeah, we're in the education room here, and I asked the painter to make a giant nudibranch.
Of course. I was when I was teaching some children the other day, and we were talking about diving and the best things to see. Excuse me. Oh dear, got a tickle. And you know, I said, you know, when you first start diving, you're obsessed with, you know, sharks and big stuff and everything else. I said, very quickly you get really obsessed with the tiny stuff. The treasure hunt of finding the tiny nudibranch or something like that. So absolutely, I can. Julia says nudibranchs are the best. Yeah, they really are. But you know, I do love corals. Well, coral is number 1 in my heart. But you know, sure, where there's coral, you'll find some nudibranchs as well, probably. But fantastic. Now, to finish off with, then, what is your most unforgettable moment in the sea? Make us all insanely jealous.
All right. I mean, there's this moment where I saw the great hammerhead shark for sure, but I think today I need to talk to you about another moment, because it's very, as it's a live streaming, it's very of this week. So it was in July, last July, and we were diving to take data with the team. So just the core team of Innoceana doing a research expedition on Canio Island, on the island here. And then my boyfriend proposed to me underwater. Coral, which was incredible. You can actually go and see the video right now on our Instagram that we posted yesterday, because I'm getting married Saturday. So it's all happening this week.
Getting married Saturday, everybody. Congratulations. And what a fantastic proposal, an underwater proposal as well. So
it was really this moment.
I think, that definitely, it's hard to top that. Well done, your fiance.
Yeah, he did amazing. And actually, it links to another very beautiful story, because so we met with my boyfriend, we met 3 years ago saving a whale, and Innoceana created a documentary about it, not about the love story, but about whale saving, which is actually, it's the same, but no. And so there was 2 humpback whales that were entangled in fishing lines, and so we went and rescued them. It was like a 5 hours event, and we're not professional whale rescuers. We were just there at that time and had to do it. So we created a documentary of 25 minutes about it, which is called Entangled in Costa Rica. It's also on our website and everything, so we can also share it. We won 8 awards this year, which was really surprising and amazing. And so yeah, that's how we met, and then 3 years later got a proposal underwater, and
Saturday you get married. Oh, fantastic. Wow, I don't think we can ever top that one. That's fantastic. What a story. Well, I think everybody needs to go and check out your Instagram in Oceana, and check out your website. Check out wiseoceans.com on our expedition page. Find out how you can get involved. We've had testimony today from people who've been there, and these things, as I say, for me, just speaking personally, that the money I spent going on an expedition was truly life-changing, and I know people, our founder and managing director, Abby Hine, she worked 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 jobs working to save up to go on her expedition, which ultimately launched her into the world of marine conservation as well. So there's always a way, and so many fantastic organizations like you. And so yeah, I hope people sign up and have a great time. I hope the vets have a wonderful time. Keep us posted with what's going on there. So thank you so much, Laura. If anyone has any questions and you're watching this on catch up, please put them in the chat and we'll see if we can get them answered as well. So all the best for Saturday. I'm sure you've got 1,000,001 things. Thank you for taking the time during what must be a very busy week. Yeah, all the best, and thank you for joining us.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Charlotte. See you. Have a beautiful day.